Hey, welcome back. I get a lot of questions about why I moved to Flower Mound from Dallas. And especially when you're my age, which is I'm 62 years old right now. But I needed something different. And I had grown up in Dallas. I'm one of the few native people probably that grew up in Dallas. I went to grade school, high school, did the whole thing there. And Dallas has changed quite a bit, and it was just time for me to make a change. And you know what? A lot of times when somebody is probably my age, they're not going to be making any major changes, but I felt like it was time to do something different. And the advantage that I have to all of this is I'm a real estate broker, so I've been able to look at Frisco and Plano, Fort Worth, which I lived in North Fort Worth for a little while, and even down to Waxahachie. There's Midlothian, Mansfield. So I've sold property, I've shown property, I've been all over the area, even into Royce City and Rockwall, and the reason I picked Flower Mound, well, number one of the reasons is, not number one, but one of the reasons is we have family out here. And it's nice to be near family, right? But there was a turning point for me, and people ask me this because I'm always talking about Flower Mound and how great it is. But why am I here? So, I mean, the turning point for me was, I felt like growing up in the 80s and 90s, we had quite a bit of growth. And it seemed like the city was kind of staying a little bit ahead of that growth. But then it just became this huge surge in the 2000s. And I didn't believe that the city could, keep up with the infrastructure, the roads, and, we were getting more of a population density in Dallas. And I'm not slamming Dallas because I love it. But it had gotten to the point where, for example, I used to go to the original Chili's, and it was on an area called Greenville Avenue on the north side of Dallas, not the far north side, but below 635, if you know that area at all. And at that time, Greenville Avenue was just a 2-lane road. Well, then they expanded it to 6 or 8 lanes. I don't know what it is now. And then they had to move the original Chili's back a little bit. And that was, I don't remember what year that was. Point being is they were kind of staying ahead of the growth and planning for it. But it just got to the point where the growth was outpacing, the infrastructure. A lot of the roads are the original 2-lane roads or 3-lane roads, and they've got nowhere to go. They can't expand them. They can't make them any bigger. Now, the highways, they're working on that. But, in the inner city of Dallas, it's a tough deal. So one of the turning points for me was, the pace of Dallas was starting to feel like loud, fast, and cramped. I mean, it became so much effort and problem to even run like simple errands. I officed in this area called Preston Center. My mother she's still alive, lived a couple of miles away. But it would take me 30 minutes in traffic to get to her house. It's ridiculous, And I mean, stoplight after stoplight and just heavy traffic. When I was growing up, we knew all our neighbors, right? Well, a lot of that, you got a lot of people moving in from out of state and even from within the state moving to Dallas. And there started to be this kind of disconnect in the neighbors and the community. And honestly, I wanted more peace without being too far from the action. And when I say action, I'm talking about like retail stores and restaurants, and I was in the restaurant business for a very long time. And, I enjoy eating out. I don't do it every day. But I like to be able to find places that I can go to if I want. And Flower Mound, had a lot of that for me. And you know what? I was looking, at my age, I was kind of looking for a lifestyle shift, okay? And not just a new address. I work with a lot of relocation people. I have, and I still do, from out of state. And, they want to live in Frisco and Plano, up in Little Elm, Prosper, which is booming. If you're working up in that area, in the north side like that, it's great. But if you have to go down to downtown Dallas, or you're a doctor and you have to work at UT Southwestern, that's a beating. I mean, because there's not a lot of roads to get into that without there being heavy traffic. And the traffic is all day long. I don't care how early or how late you leave. It's all day long. I love Dallas, like I said, but it wasn't the lifestyle I wanted anymore. And I realized that, honestly, my priorities had changed when I was in my 60s. I mean, I'm not retired. I still work. I enjoy it. I love it. But one of the other drivers is where Flower Mound is located. So we're up here in Flower Mound. You've got Dallas on one side and Fort Worth on the other. I've got easy access to all of that. And I can go straight into the airport. We like to travel. So that was a huge benefit for us. So I guess the next question is, what checked the boxes for a 62-year-old, right? Starting a new chapter. I mean, changing homes, it's a big deal. But you know what? The average, when I was growing up, nobody moved. Maybe they remodeled their house, but people didn't really change houses like they do now. Now the average time to stay in a home can be anywhere from 3, 5, or 7 years. Those seem to be the 3, 5, and 7 seem to be the time frame. And it makes sense because I bought my first house when I was 28 years old. Yeah, 28 years old. And I have owned 4 different homes. So you do the math. Over 30 years. But the one thing that I kept looking at in Flower Mound over and over again, and it took me about 2 years to find the place that I thought that we were looking for. And I looked at all the neighborhoods all over Flower Mound. I mean, we've settled into Bridlewood, which I really love. And it's a golf community. I don't play golf. Maybe someday, who knows. But they have great swimming pools, even though I'm putting in a pool. And, it's a super walkable area, and that's something that was super attractive to me. In Dallas, I really had a problem walking because you either there was the Katy Trail, which was great, but you got to park down near there, and I had my car broken into one time, and I was like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. And then, or you can go out to White Rock Lake, which is great, but you got to fight for a parking space. So, like walking in the neighborhoods and stuff like that, there's so much traffic. I don't care what neighborhood you're in. It's just constant traffic because it's so dense. So, moving out here, in Flower Mound, there are so many different communities. Listen, when they built Flower Mound and had the master plan for Flower Mound, they had to have, I don't know exactly what it was, but there was, if you built a neighborhood, I don't know that it's like this anymore, you had to have a certain amount of green space associated with that neighborhood. So it's not, I believe that a lot of that has changed because they're starting to build developments that are a little bit more densely populated, but not horrible. Not horrible at all. I mean, Toll Brothers has several things going on, which is great if you're familiar with them. They're start in the $1 million range and go up to $2 or $3 million. David Weekley's got some stuff getting ready to break ground. I haven't really seen the plans for that one yet, but that's only maybe 5 minutes from where I am. But the thing that I really liked was, Flower Mound is quiet in the evening. It's not a bedroom community. A bedroom community to me is like lights out at 5 o'clock, all the stores close. It's not like that. I mean, it's still pretty. I went out to get something to eat last night at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and there's still a lot of traffic and stuff going on. Not crazy amount of traffic, just traffic. I like the quiet, established neighborhoods. I like the big trees. I love the trails. I love the green space. I kind of like that small town charm without the small town limitations. Does that make sense? I mean, we've got the big Kroger, the big Tom Thumb, the big Market Street. We got a Super Target. Nordstrom Rack just moved in. I mean, and then if you just go maybe 5 or 10 minutes north of here, you have Highland Village and Double Oak, Lantana. Denton's not that far away. So you can get everything you need living in Flower Mound. It's just you don't have to put up with all this crazy dense traffic where the streets aren't very wide and the 18-wheelers are going everywhere. I mean, it's a cleaner, it's super clean out here, calmer, and it's like more intentional living, if that makes sense. It was a planned community, and they did it right, and they stick to it. They're monitoring it, and I love that. And like I said, there's convenient access for us. We're still close to everything. DFW Airport, the north entrance from here, is 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops from anywhere in Flower Mound, but 30 minutes might be stretching it. It's an easy drive to Dallas, easy drive to Grapevine to the west. No. Yes, Grapevine to the west, and then Louisville to the east. So, I mean, you don't have the chaos of a city, The one thing, I have been out here for a while, and I have not seen one car accident. And I'll tell you what, in Dallas, you go up and down that tollway, guaranteed every day there's an accident. Downtown, accident, constantly. So it's great Flower Mound's great for traveling. That was attractive to me. When our family, we have a big family, and they live all over the country. And, it's easy for them to come in, and we can pick them up at the airport. It's not like a 45-minute or an hour drive like it is sometimes from Dallas or Fort Worth. People are tired from being in an airplane and in an airport. If you can pick them up and then, kind of bring them home, that's kind of cool. It's great for business, and, Flower Mound has a good business plan. It's constantly growing, more restaurants, more just everything. Everything is going on. And you've got some freedom where you can kind of breathe. And I think that was the big thing with me. It's like in Dallas, I was just like, where do I go to get some peace? I can't, it's just loud constantly. And if you walk, like I walk every day, or I try to walk every day, and I don't go fast, and I'm not doing the whole power walking thing. I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying nature. I get to walk by the golf course and watch the golfers. It's just relaxing, but there's like miles of trails. If you like going out to Lake Grapevine, it's beautiful. And the thing about Lake Grapevine is it's not crowded. So you can kind of sit and look at a picnic table. There's a couple of parks and stuff, and just kind of watch the sailboats or watch the boats. It's just quiet. It's peaceful. And I think that is what I just wanted, some more peace in my life. And I was looking for, I didn't need the pace of Dallas, I mean, we got some dog parks, but for some reason, I don't see a whole lot of dogs out here. But in Dallas, everybody has to have a dog. I don't get it. And it's not just one. It's like 2 or 3. It's like, what do these people, all these people move to Dallas and go, okay, we're going to give you a dog. I mean, there's dogs everywhere. It's crazy. But I like the whole fitness and nature combined. I'm not stressed. I don't have to get out there and, I'd love to start playing tennis again. We got some great tennis courts in our area. I mean, it's like easy to feel younger and more alive when your environment is like moving, and that's super attractive to me. But I didn't realize that until I got out here. What about housing? So we discussed moving into a house that would be a single level. Not necessarily downsizing, but right sizing. I don't like to use the word downsizing because it's like, I don't know, there's something weird about that whole connotation about downsizing. It means that like you're getting rid of all your stuff, like you're living a minimalist lifestyle. Well, I'm not living that. You know what? My home is right sized for us, and we've got room for guests. It's not cramped. And there are plenty of homes in Flower Mound like this. Now, if you want a 2-story home and you want like the primary bedroom on the bottom and your guests can be up top where there's 2 or 3 bedrooms, hey, great, we got it. If you're looking for over 55 communities, got that too. We've got the ones with the houses, and then we have the 4 and 5 story buildings, and they're really pretty nice. It just kind of depends on what you want. Are these low maintenance homes? I don't know what low maintenance means. I mean, I always find stupid stuff breaking every day. Light bulbs out. Okay, well, that's today's broken thing on the landscaping. Or I had to replace a blower motor at some point. Or I have to replace the air conditioning system or something, or the dishwasher. I mean, it's, that's life. I mean, there are newer builds coming, and the neighborhoods are updated. And if that's what you're looking for, it's out here. But again, let's get back to the whole walkability. You can't walk to the grocery store. You still have to have a car. I mean, I guess you could, but it's too far. And you know what? You still have to have a car. We don't have public transportation out here. It doesn't exist. But the walkability inside the neighborhoods, you got a lot of room to walk. The streets are peaceful. I think it's a safer investment for long-term living. And one of the reasons I say that is because we have some rental property out here that we've had for 10 plus years. So, I know what the market does, and I'm in the business, right? So something I also kind of wanted to tap on was, what was kind of the emotional side of what I gained by leaving Dallas. Let me put it to you this way. When you get to be my age, what I'm learning is you just want more peace and a little bit more clarity. I'm telling you, I sleep so good out here. I could not sleep to save my life in Dallas. I don't know why. Maybe there's just too much activity going on. You go outside at 12 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, and you just hear traffic constantly. It's like 24/7. And out here, it's kind of a slower pace, but it's not. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't feel isolated being out here. I lived in North Fort Worth on an acre of land, and at one point, and thought, oh, this is great. I'm on an acre and kind of farmland and stuff. This is going to be fun. Oh man, it was horrible. I mean, I felt so isolated. It took us 30 minutes just to get to the grocery store, 20 minutes to get to the closest gas station. Everything was a pain. I find myself spending more time outside. I can see the stars at night and early in the morning. I like to get up early in the morning. And I find myself spending more time outside. The air feels cleaner. I know that smells cleaner. I know that sounds silly, but to me, that's what it feels like, And I got a fresh start without leaving the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I can still go anywhere I want in DFW. I just, like if you live in Dallas, it's going to take you 45 minutes to an hour at least to get to Fort Worth. Now I can hit either one of those in 30 minutes or so. You know, I'm feeling a lot more healthier, a lot more grounded. You know, our home fits us. You know, you can find a home. I can help you find a home that fits you if that's something that you're looking for. But it's just something to think about and do your own research. You know, I've got several other videos that I've been working on. I mean, if you like what you're seeing here, I mean, if you subscribe and you have any questions, please comment, because I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about also was what were kind of the challenges as a 62-year-old person moving out here, right? Because a lot of times people will go, okay, I'm going to work for 30 years. You retire when you're 50 or 60, and then you just kind of kick back. I don't think the mentality is like that in this country or the world anymore. I could be wrong, but I feel very young. You know, I feel as good as I did, actually probably a little bit better than I was in 40. When I was 40, because I was working 80 hours a week in the restaurant business. But some of the things, I mean, I didn't really have to let go, but I know I've worked with people that have had to do this. You know, you kind of got to let go of some old things. Now, I've got a furniture piece in the other room that was my great-grandmother's, and I love it, and it's probably 100 years old. But aside from that, most of the stuff that we have is not that old, so I'm not concerned about letting go of old furniture, old habits. You know, I probably had some habits that I probably didn't need to have that have pretty much gone away. I didn't really, I'd like to say that I had a familiar routine. Well, I'll tell you what, I did have a familiar routine until I went off on my own. I would get up every morning. I would be in the office. I had a partner. Be in the office by 8 o'clock, and we would be there till 5 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Monday through Saturday. And this wasn't too long ago. This is only a couple of years ago. And I'd go up, get breakfast at McDonald's or wherever, which I know it's wrong, so don't shame me. And then, you know, grab a sandwich or something for lunch. So now I'm spending, and then I'd have to go up the tollway. So I'd have to sometimes go to the dry cleaner. So there was a cost there. Now I'm paying for breakfast and lunch away from the house. Tolls, which is minimum $1 each way every day. But all that's gone. So I've had to adjust. I've had to adjust a little bit to suburban driving, because the 7-minute drive that I had in Dallas from where I lived to my office sometimes would turn into a 20 or 30-minute because, again, accidents all the time. But suburban driving here, out here in Flower Mound, the streets are so wide. They're concrete. There's no potholes. They maintain them. My car's not getting all beat up. It's just a matter of, you know, part of the challenge for you and for me, and it took a little time, it took some research, was just choosing the right neighborhood and my right sizing decisions. And it was, for me, probably a little bit easier because being in the business that I'm in, you know, I see so many homes a year. I mean, minimum 500 to 1,000 a year homes. So I know what I'm looking for and what I don't want. So let me just kind of leave you with some stuff. You know, what you love most today, what is it you're looking for? You know, and that's a question only that you can answer. I mean, if you want to keep up the pace that you're doing, if you want, let's say you're kind of living in a rural area and you just kind of want to make a half step up, I believe that Flower Mound is that for a lot of people. I mean, we only have about 80,000 people that live here. So it's not like, and it's not landlocked because we have a lot of growth potential getting ready. I mean, that continues to happen, but it's calculated. It's not this crazy growth like in Dallas. It's almost like they don't have any zoning anymore. But I just felt like Flower Mound for me, it was the right time and the right move, and I would encourage you, if you are relocating from out of state, if you're relocating from within Texas or just somewhere in the DFW area, just to kind of give it some thought and do some research and just maybe kind of drive around. You can always call me, make some comments, and ask me any questions, and I'll be happy to answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find out for you. But just because I'm 62, I'm not dead, and you can still make a move and enjoy your life. And thanks for being with me today. We'll talk soon.